Good evening, Namaskar, Sat Sri Akal, Assalamu Alaikum. My name is Abhinav and I'm joined by Noor Fatima Warsia. This is Businessworld and we are doing our first live marketing and advertising show. Noor is a veteran, I am not. So the year was 2018 when Nike in the United States roped in Colin Kaepernick as their brand ambassador. Now, Colin Kaepernick was the face of Black Lives Matter movement in the United States, where he went down on the knee when the national anthem was being played in a sporting activity, and he protested because of the attitude. He protested against the attitude of not only the white people but all the right wingers across the United States. Now, Nike faced backlash when they roped in Colin Kaepernick. There were protests across the United States. Social media was inundated with comments against the brand, not only the brand but also the player himself.
You're going to go ahead and say, hey, buy them our shoes. We stand with people who kneel for the national anthem. Not only am I burning my favorite pair of Nikes, you are burning your sales. Have a good day.
Juxtaposing this to India, in 2020, we are close to festive season and all the brands are trying to vouch for attention. Now, in these times, offense can be good for business at times as well. Tanishq recently came out with an ad campaign. Have a look at the ad first and then we'll come back.
रिश्ते हैं कुछ नए नए, धागे हैं ये कच्चे पक्के, अपनेपन से इन्हें सहलाएंगे, प्यार पिरोते जाएंगे।
माँ, ये रस्म तो आपके घर पे होती भी नहीं है ना?
पर बिटिया को खुश रखने की रस्म तो हर घर में होती है ना? एक जो हुए हम तो क्या ना कर जाएंगे।
Noor, what do you think of the ad campaign? What's your opinion on this particular piece of advertising?
Hi, Abhinav. I have to first say that I really enjoyed the way you began. Let's just go back to the example you quoted, which is the Nike example. And the comparable probably would be that Kaepernick was a polarizing figure in the Black Lives Matter campaign since 2016, in fact. So it was almost a 2-year leeway already created with his image. So naturally, when Nike took him on as a brand ambassador, they already knew the risk they were walking in. And Nike has a lot of examples in the past as well, where they have dealt with several, I want to use the word scandals, but actually several such cases. So Nike has a team that kind of understands that there's a certain power that social media has, there's a certain backlash that's going to come back, and then you have to deal with it. You mentioned that their stock fell. Their stock had actually fallen by about 2%, if I'm not mistaken, at that time. And when we were discussing this, we were talking about how their ad sales had gone up because people were burning their shoes. But Nike is a very different brand from what we are actually discussing today, which is Tanishq.
Right.
Now, everybody will have watched the ad right now, and everybody will have a point of view. Really, some people will not even have a first point of view. There may be some conservative mothers that actually may be looking at the bride who's pregnant in this ad. And what is the message you're giving out? Now, that becomes a separate conversation. So for me, in the beginning, it was really surprising that it took such a steep interfaith turn. But if we take away all of that for now, and if we just look at what Tanishq did, we are sitting in the festive period and it is Diwali time. Tanishq is a brand which is trying to eye that side of the market. We are in India. There's a certain market segmentation you're already looking at.
Right.
Purely take away the art of, which is a very beautiful ad, by the way. If you purely take that away and look at the science, you'll already start putting a few question marks, right? On did you actually think about the period you're advertising in when you're doing this? So that's the side of the argument that you can look at. But no matter how you look at this argument, what happened with Tanishq was not fair. And I do not think you can explain mob mentality ever, and you cannot explain what netizens are thinking. I also don't think that you can question what netizens are thinking beyond, because you have to understand that's the mass consumer. That's what they're saying. So it has to be taken seriously. But at the same time, every industry body, every advertising professional has stood by Tanishq for what they did. Whether it was the AAAs of I, which is the advertising body, whether it is ISA, which is the Indian Society of Advertisers, and Tanishq is one of their members, or whether it was the Ad Club, which comprises some of the most important names of our industry, they unanimously stood by Tanishq for coming out with a very bold and a very important message.
Sure.
As a fellow journalist or as somebody who's been observing that space, I have exactly the same opinion as these bodies and as every other creative professional that there is in India. So I don't think I will question what Tanishq did, or I don't think I will go against or bring into conversation that it was a bad move to do it. The only thing that I think we should pay attention to is everything that's happening around. Now, Tanishq had to pull back this ad. Nike did not. You will remember Nike stuck by its ad.
Correct.
Very, very important international black figures stood behind the ad and they supported Nike. But in the case of Tanishq, because it actually came down to the safety of their staff, the people who were behind the ad were actually getting threatening calls from several organizations. And Tanishq had to make that move. Now that was unfortunate. Because there you're taking away the freedom of expression. You're not allowing the creative person to present them. Now that was the unfortunate bit.
But Noor, you have been in this space. You have been covering this space for the last 17 years. According to you, how do brands generally do this? That's one. Second, is the response, the way they responded, is that correct? Should they not have done that in the first place and then come out with a press release like that? Doesn't that completely nullify what they did in the first place? I mean, does that do damage to the brand, or does that establish credibility in the long run for them?
All right, I'm going to answer the first part of it, which how do brands do this?
Sure.
This is not the first interfaith ad that we have seen. We have seen interfaith marriages in ads also in the past.
Correct.
And we have seen live-in relationships in the past, again interfaith. We have seen neighbors and very massive marketers like Unilever and their brand Brook Bond Red Label, which is actually known for putting out very gutsy statement out there. Have actually stood behind these ads, and they were very well received.
Very well received.
We applauded Unilever's ability to look at inclusion and diversity and to actually bring out such messages.
चाबी नहीं मिल रही।
अरे यार, वो उसका जाता है।
मैंने चलते हुए बैग में रखी थी।
बैग में डाली तो कहाँ चली गई? हवा निकल गई उसकी। ढंग से देखो ना यार।
चाबी भूल गए आप?
जी?
आइए ना, हमारे यहाँ इंतजार कीजिए।
अब नहीं, हम ठीक है। देखते रहो उसको, इसको बार-बार।
सुनिए, मैं चाय बना रही हूँ, आइए।
करो फोन ताले वाले।
चाय की बहुत अच्छी खुशबू आती है इसके घर से।
आती होगी। तुम्हारे घुटनों में दर्द हो गया होगा, तो चलो अंदर बैठ के इंतजार करते हैं।
अम्मी,
चीनी कितने लेंगे?
कुछ घरों की चाय में अपनेपन का स्वाद होता है।
चाय बहुत अच्छी बनी है।
एक कप चाय और मिलेगी।
जी, ब्रुक बॉन्ड रेड लेबल, स्वाद अपनेपन का।
So there is a particular way in which it was treated in the past. The way Tanishq did it was not very different. And I was very sure that I was not going to talk about this. But I was seeing some of the comments online and they were saying, why did you have a Hindu daughter? Now, clearly there was a very strong mass of people that very strongly felt against it. I'm a Muslim. It's very difficult for me to have a comment on this.
Yeah.
But the moment you change the conversation to that, you're actually handicapping the brand from making any kind of correct or wrong statement.
Don't worry, Noor. Don't worry, Noor. I'm a Hindu, okay, and I'm a Brahmin by caste. So let me take this position of authority, so to speak, and balance out the conversation. No matter what, this is the mentality of the 80s or maybe 70s. We are living in 2020. This mentality does not find any sort of strength in today's day and age. But do you think, and like you suggested, interfaith marriages have been showed in various ads before. Interfaith bonding has been shown in various commercials or ad campaigns before. Do you think Tanishq campaign clashed in the wrong timing. The timing was bad for this.
Let's just put it that way, Abhinav. They got unlucky and unfortunate because of the timing. But for a second, just hold on. Forget that we are in the Diwali period. Let's go to Eid, all right? And let's see if this ad would have been put out at that time, would it not have this kind of a reaction? And I highly doubt that that we can say with any authority that it would not have. It really could have had this kind of reaction even then. I would say bad timing from a product sale point of view, because please understand, Tanishq is about to hit itself a really bad break in terms of any kind of ad sale they would have tried to make at this point, right? With such a mass mentality of block Tanishq and ban Tanishq and block Tata, it is the timing is bad from that perspective. The timing may or may not be bad in terms of reaction perspective. They may still be getting reaction. You mentioned the second question as whether Tanishq did the right thing. What else could they do? If you're going to, threaten them with burning down their stores, if there is actually going to be a threat to security of your staff and of your property, what are you going to do? What will you do? Would Tanishq have made a more bold statement at that time and said that due to this, we are recalling the ad back? I don't know how that messaging could have been done in order to make it look all right. But I cannot blame Tanishq for withdrawing the ad in the face of the security of their staff. I don't think any of us should.
You know what, Noor, I was reading, in fact, I was talking to a brand expert. Now, what happens is what they suggest that these big brands have huge team of artificial intelligence, trends coming up in society where there will be flag, where there won't be flag. So, every move they take is very calculative and carefully planned. Now, having said that, when you see, like in Nike's case, their sales went up by 31% immediately after they received flag. And even in Tanishq's case, did they not predict that this might happen? क्या उन्होंने ये predict नहीं किया था कि इसमें backlash होगा? और आमतौर पे festive season में, when there are so many brands vying for the consumer attention, a campaign like this suddenly gets you more eyeballs. Even people who did not know about Tanishq now know about Tanishq because of this ad campaign. So whether this will benefit them or not in the long run, this time will tell. But do you think that there can also be a flip side to it? There could be a different angle or a perspective, which we call in our language of journalism. There could be a different perspective altogether, which we are not able to, see right now.
So in hindsight, did they expect it? They probably did not. They probably would not have gauged that this is the kind of extreme backlash they would have got. In terms of the long term, you never know. Because also remember, audience memory is really short.
Right.
Next time you do something that glorifies it, or the next time you play an ad that would have gone against this, or you just make a statement that was in popular mood and taste, you will be forgiven, right? I mean, Tanishq as a brand has legacy. It is there for a long time. It stands for a certain quality. The quality of the product itself does not get diluted because of something like this. And in the strictest sense, they really were not doing anything wrong. It is just tragic that we have responded the way we responded as the consumers of this ad.
Okay.
So in the long run, will it benefit? Will it have incremental benefit because of this? I don't know. It definitely did become almost a household name. Like my mom is now, over 60s, and she was like, what happened with Tanishq? She just has a sense something happened with Tanishq. She doesn't know. She only watches YouTube, and she's a YouTube premium person, so she watches no ads. She hasn't seen the ad per se, but she definitely knew something is wrong with that brand. And this is not your everyday household sabun ka brand.
Right.
Jewelry brand. Like for it to actually become a household conversation like this, so you may have merit in your argument that in the long run there may be some kind of an incremental benefit to the brand, but it's very difficult to right now get up and say whether that was a good benefit or whether that's a weird benefit. We really don't know.
Of course, that's subjective, because even in the past, if you talk about Nike's shoes or Zomato, which got entangled into a similar controversy, the value of the transactions was fairly less. Okay,
yes.
You cannot place order for more than $300 or $400. Jute maybe 1,000-2,000 rupees, but jewelry, if you Tanishq products, they are high in value. So yeah, you're right. Your argument also has a lot of merit. So let's hold that to the time.
I enjoyed it too. Thank you, Abhinav.
Thank you, Noor. Thank you so much.